There is a Street Glide sitting on a dealer lot in Ohio that has been there for 583 days. It has never been ridden. It has never had a key turned in the ignition by anyone who intended to buy it. It has 12 miles on the odometer from the factory floor test and the delivery truck. And the dealer who ordered it has been paying floor plan interest on that bike every single month for the last 19 months, while it sits under fluorescent lights and slowly becomes worth less than the day it arrived. That dealer is not alone. Right now, across the United States, there are approximately 80,000 brand new Harley-Davidson motorcycles sitting unsold in showrooms, in overflow lots, in rented storage facilities, in regional distribution warehouses. 80,000 bikes. And the things dealers do to those bikes when the months keep passing and the buyers don't come are things Harley-Davidson corporate would very much prefer you never find out about. This video is the thing they don't want you to see, and I want you to stay until the end, because the last part of this video contains specific questions you need to ask before you sign anything at a Harley dealership. Questions that will tell you immediately whether the new motorcycle you're looking at has been through the process I'm about to describe. Before we go any further, drop your state in the comments and answer this. Have you walked into a Harley dealership in the last 6 months and noticed the showroom felt more full than it should be? More inventory than staff? More bikes than customers? A salesperson who seemed a little too eager? Type yes or no right now, because what you felt was real, and this video explains exactly what you were sensing. Let's start with the number that Harley-Davidson does not want on your screen. In their fourth quarter 2025 earnings call, Harley reported dealer inventory at approximately 32,000 units. That is the number they gave investors. That is the number that went into financial press coverage. And that number is, at minimum, less than half the real figure. The 32,000 counts bikes on showroom floors and immediate dealer lots. It does not count overflow parking. It does not count the regional distribution warehouses where Harley stores bikes that are already invoiced to dealers, already on the dealer's floor plan, already accumulating interest charges, but physically cannot fit on the lot. It does not count in-transit inventory that dealers have ordered and cannot cancel. When you add everything that is actually the dealer's financial responsibility, the Motorcycle Industry Council estimates total unsold inventory between 75,000 and 85,000 units. Call it 80,000. You can verify this yourself right now. Open Google Maps, switch to satellite view, find a major Harley-Davidson dealership in your area. Look at the backlot. Look at the overflow parking. Count the rows. The inventory crisis is visible from space. The Harley-Davidson Dealer Alliance, which represents hundreds of independently owned Harley dealerships across the country, sent a formal letter to Harley corporate in late 2025. The letter asked Harley to stop shipping new motorcycles to dealers. Not slow shipments down, stop them, because dealers cannot sell what they already have, and every new bike that arrives makes the financial situation worse. Harley's response was to idle its York, Pennsylvania manufacturing plant for 6 weeks, not because the letter convinced them to take the situation seriously, but because there was literally no place to put new production. That is the scale of what we are talking about. Now, let's talk about what happens to those 80,000 bikes when they don't sell. Every new motorcycle sitting on a dealer's floor is financed through what the industry calls floor plan financing. The dealer does not own the bikes outright. They borrow the money to stock them, and they pay interest on that loan every month until the bike sells. For a new Harley-Davidson, the floor plan interest runs approximately $200 to $400 per bike per month, depending on the model price and the dealer's credit arrangement with their lender. On a $32,000 Street Glide, over a 400-day period, which is roughly where the worst aged inventory sits right now, the accumulated floor plan interest alone reaches approximately $2,667. The dealer paid $2,667 in interest to store a bike that hasn't moved, before insurance, before the labor cost of maintaining it, before the space cost that displaced other inventory or service bays that could have generated revenue. And that is one bike. Dealers with 50, 60, 70 aged units in their portfolio are burning $10,000 to $20,000 per month just to hold inventory they cannot sell. This financial pressure is what drives the 5 things dealers do with bikes that won't move. And the reason this matters to you as a buyer is that every stage of this process can produce a bike that reaches you in a condition that is materially different from what you expect when you pay new motorcycle prices. Stage 1 is the discount. This is the stage dealers want you to know about. It's legitimate, it benefits buyers, and it is where the 2026 motorcycle market has produced buying opportunities that haven't existed in 2 decades. A 2024 Street Bob that retailed for $15,000 is currently moving at $10,500 at dealers with serious aged inventory pressure. That is 30% off a brand new motorcycle. A 2023 Road Glide that listed at $28,000 is on lots right now at $21,995. $6,000 off list on a motorcycle that has never been ridden. If you are in the market for a Harley and you are willing to buy a prior model year, the discount stage of the unsold inventory cycle is working entirely in your favor right now. The bikes in this stage are genuinely new, genuinely unridden, and the only thing wrong with them is that they were ordered in the wrong color or the wrong configuration for the specific market where they landed, and they've been sitting while the dealers waited for someone who wanted exactly that bike. The discount stage is where the story is good for buyers. The next stage is where it gets complicated. Stage 2 is the demo conversion. This is where a bike that has been sitting for 90 to 180 days and isn't moving with discounts gets pulled from the new inventory classification and converted to a demo or loaner unit. The dealer starts using it. Hog chapter rides, test rides, employee commuting, whatever generates mileage and justifies the reclassification. There are 2 reasons dealers do this. First, Harley-Davidson reimburses dealers a monthly fee for maintaining bikes in demo or loaner programs. That reimbursement offsets some of the floor plan bleeding. The bike that was costing the dealer $300 per month in floor plan interest and generating $0 is now generating a monthly reimbursement check that partially covers that cost. Second, once the bike accumulates, wasn't selling at $29,000 new becomes a nearly new model, and price it accordingly, typically $2,000 to $4,000 below the equivalent new price. The bike that wasn't selling at $29,000 new becomes a like-new demo with only 1,800 miles, listed at $25,500. Different buyer pool, different psychological framing, same bike that sat unsold for 6 months and accumulated those miles during a period when its maintenance, its clutch wear, its throttle body carbon, and its tire condition were not being tracked the way an owner's bike would be tracked. The demo miles on these bikes are not touring miles. They are test ride miles, which are typically the hardest miles a motorcycle accumulates. Cold engine, maximum throttle, abrupt stops, inexperienced riders on unfamiliar machinery. The clutch on a bike used for 200 test rides over 6 months has experienced more abuse than most owner-maintained bikes see in 3 years. And when you walk into the dealer and ask about this specific bike, you will be told it is a low mileage demo in excellent condition. Both of those statements are technically accurate. Neither of them tells you what those 1,800 miles represent. Stage 3 is the dealer trade. When the discount hasn't worked and the demo conversion hasn't worked, the bike gets traded to another dealer, physically transported on a truck to a different market where it might appeal to a different buyer profile. A touring bike that sat unsold in Florida, where the buyer base tends toward custom configurations, gets shipped to a dealer in the Midwest, where the touring segment moves faster. A Sportster that couldn't find a buyer in a small rural market gets moved to a metro area with more first-time buyer traffic. There is nothing inherently deceptive about a dealer trade. It is a normal inventory management practice. What matters for buyers is the disclosure. In most states, dealers are not required to disclose how many times a motorcycle has been dealer traded. You might be looking at a bike that has been transported on a truck 3 times, handled by 6 different dealer staff members, and sat on 3 different lots over 18 months. The odometer reads 14 miles. The title says new, and no one is required to tell you what happened between the factory and the showroom floor where you're standing right now. The physical condition risk of a dealer trade is the transport damage that doesn't always get documented. Bikes loaded onto enclosed trailers, tied down incorrectly, rubbing against one another, or against tie-down points during transport. Scratches on engine cases that get touched up with paint pens before the bike arrives. Fork seal wear from improper tie-down pressure during multiple transports. These are not catastrophic failures. They are small accumulations of wear and damage on a bike you are about to pay new motorcycle prices for. Ask the dealer directly, has this motorcycle been dealer traded since it left? The factory? Ask it by name. Watch the response. A dealer with nothing to hide will answer clearly. A dealer who hesitates or pivots to the warranty coverage or the condition of the bike is telling you something. Stage 4 is the last resort before the financial catastrophe. The dealer takes the bike to wholesale auction. The Mannheim auction system and the OVE online auction platform are where dealer inventory goes when all other options are exhausted. A Harley that has sat for 400 days, been converted to demo, accumulated 2,200 miles, been traded to 2 other dealers, and still won't move at a discounted price, gets run through the auction block. And at auction, the seller is not the original selling dealer. The seller is whoever bought the bike at the previous stage. There is no window sticker. There is no retail framing. There is a bike, a VIN, and an opening bid. The financial math at auction is brutal. The dealer who has been carrying floor plan interest for 14 months, spending money on maintenance and storage, and absorbing the depreciation of a bike that has gone from new to demo to aged, is now selling that bike at auction to a wholesale buyer who will pay wholesale price. Wholesale on a bike that cost the dealer $19,000 is going to land somewhere between $11,000 and $14,000, depending on condition and market conditions on that specific auction day. After auction fees, transport costs, and 14 months of accumulated floor plan interest, the dealer who ordered that bike in good faith based on a Harley-Davidson sales projection that turned out to be wrong is looking at a loss of $10,000 to $12,000 on a single motorcycle. Multiply that across dozens of aged units, and you're looking at dealerships absorbing $200,000 to $500,000 in auction losses just to clear inventory. Dealerships that cannot absorb that loss have closed. Harley-Davidson dealerships that were operating in 2024 are closed permanently today because of this cycle. Their owners made the wrong bet on Harley's demand projections and paid for it with the business they spent years building. But here's where the auction stage becomes directly relevant to you as a buyer. And this is the part of the process that is most invisible to most people who walk into a dealership. The bikes that go through auction don't stay at auction. A wholesale buyer purchases a 2023 Road Glide at auction for $14,500. That buyer is a dealer. They recondition the bike, detail, paint touch-up, fresh battery, fresh tires if needed, and it goes back into a retail showroom, listed as a used motorcycle with 14 miles. Previous ownership, 1 owner. The original dealer who ordered it from the factory is technically its first owner. The bike's history is clean. The Carfax shows a dealer registration transfer. There is no indication of the 14 months of floor plan bleeding, the demo miles, the 3 dealer trades, the auction run, the reconditioning. You cannot tell from the retail listing. You cannot tell from the title. You can only tell if you ask the right questions, in the right order, before you sign anything. Here are the 3 questions. Ask them before you express interest in any specific bike, before the salesperson has framed the conversation around that particular unit, before the emotional investment of imagining yourself on that motorcycle makes walking away harder. Question 1. Was this motorcycle ever part of a dealer demo or loaner program? A yes answer triggers your right to ask about the mileage accumulated, the conditions of use, and the maintenance record during the demo period. A no answer that is later contradicted by the service records is a disclosure failure that has legal remedies in most states. Question 2. How long has this specific VIN been in the dealer inventory system? Not how long it's been on the lot. How long it's been in the system. A bike can be on the lot for 2 months and in the system for 22 months. The system date tells you the actual age of the inventory. Question 3. Has this motorcycle been transferred from another dealer? And if yes, How many transfers are in the VIN history? The transfer history is in the auction platform records. A dealer who can't or won't tell you how many times a bike has been dealer traded is not obligated to disclose it in most states, but the question itself, asked directly, tells you something about how the transaction is going to proceed. Now, why is any of this happening? Because a problem that starts with 80,000 unsold bikes doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from a set of decisions made over years that produced a company selling the wrong product at the wrong price to a buyer demographic that is getting smaller every year. The average Harley-Davidson buyer is 63 years old. That is not a projection. That is the actual median age of a new Harley buyer in 2025. And the baby boomer generation, which built Harley-Davidson's market, which made it culturally dominant, which bought the bikes that paid for the brand's survival in the 1980s and its growth in the 1990s and 2000s, is aging out. The core Harley buyer cohort is shrinking by 8 to 10% per year as boomers age past riding years. The younger riders who would logically replace them are not buying new Harleys at $28,000 when Japanese and European alternatives offer comparable or superior performance at $8,000 to $15,000, and the used market is making it worse. Those same aging boomers are selling their bikes. Low mileage, heavily accessorized, garage-kept touring bikes from the 2018 to 2022 period are hitting the used market at prices that are thousands of dollars below the equivalent new model. A buyer who is comparing a new 2025 Street Glide at $32,000 to a 2020 Street Glide with 8,000 miles and $4,000 in chrome accessories at $18,500 is not going to choose the new one unless there is a reason to choose the new one. Right now, in this market, Harley-Davidson has not given that buyer a compelling reason. The result is 80,000 bikes, some of which will cycle through every stage of the process I described in this video: discount, demo, dealer trade, auction, reconditioning, retail again, before they find a buyer who may not know what they're really buying. Hit like if this video told you something you needed to know before you walked into a dealership. Subscribe and hit the bell, because the next video covers the specific Harley models that are currently carrying the most aggressive dealer discounts. The bikes where the financial pressure on dealers is highest, and the negotiating leverage for buyers is the best it has been in 20 years. That is the video where the crisis I described today becomes a buying opportunity that you know how to use. And drop your question in the comments. What would you ask a dealer before buying? Or, if you've already been through this process and bought a Harley that turned out to have history you didn't know about, tell that story, because the owners in this community reading your comment will learn more from your experience than from anything else in this video. The bikes exist. The deals exist. The information to protect yourself exists. Now you have it.